Alright, so now here's where I'm going to talk about the spoilers part of this game and what I liked. And there's going to be a lot of spoilers, so you've been warned. If anyone's going to complain that like the game's been spoiled for them and stuff, that's not really going to fly because you've been warned. Like it's written. I've like told you a bunch of times now already that there's going to be spoilers. So yeah, so you know what to expect. Like if you haven't beaten this game, then stop this video, and if you want to play this game, then stop this video, go beat the game first, and come back and watch this video. So yeah, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this game. Damn. So when I was playing this through, I thought like the game was gonna finish after the Brainiac boss battle, but apparently like it didn't, and it prolonged, and we had that whole regime versus the insurgency thing going on like right till the end. Now, before I go on further, like I forgot to mention this in the last video, even though I had everything out. Like I had my pre-order for this game through Best Buy, and I pre-ordered it and got it last Tuesday, and today is like Tuesday night while I'm recording this video, so it's been roughly about 1 week since this game has come out, and they sent me this awesome Flash hat with like the Flash logo and everything like that, and it came free with the game and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then at the back you can see like it's written Injustice 2. So that's some like pretty cool free stuff that I got with this. It would have been really better if I got a Superman hat, but that's okay. Now I just want to show everyone like the cover really quickly. Like you can see like with the lighting it's not that clear because like there's like a blur and stuff, but you can see Superman being a badass like right in the cover, and that's why I like this cover because it has like Superman featured and everything. And then at the back it just shows you like a few things about the game, and like you can barely see Brainiac, Harley, Kara, and Blue Beetle at the back, and it says every battle defines you. So yeah, just some small stuff that I wanted to talk about, and that I got with this game, and what my thoughts on the cover art are and stuff like that. But yeah, now I'm gonna jump into the plot now. The first thing that had my jaw drop was like a couple of years later when like the whole Superman goes dictator and like starts a regime and stuff like that after Joker drugs him into killing Lois and destroys Metropolis and everything like that, and then he vows that he's not gonna let it happen, so he lets go of like the no kill rule and he kills like anyone who gets in his way of like establishing order and stuff like that. So in the first like chapter there's there's a break-in when the Batman and Robin, like the Damian Wayne Robin, they go to a prison where Superman's basically gonna execute all the prisoners, innocent or guilty. It's whoever's convicted, but there might be some innocent people. Game doesn't explicitly say, but really what happens then is that Batman's fighting like all these people, like he's fighting Wonder Woman and he's fighting a bunch of like the regime guys, or like the big bosses of the regime. He even fights Superman and everything like that, and then he beats Superman because he has that like Kryptonian super pill that Superman made to basically enlist everyone in the insurgency to make them like super strong, like as strong as Superman, and that's why everyone's like basically fighting everyone, and like Batman can fight Superman without like like an assault suit and stuff like that with just like his bare hands and anything like that, because like almost every fighter and like a lot of people in the Injustice universe have taken that Kryptonian super pill, which has DNA sequences into it and has like basically mutated the DNA at the subatomic level for them to be as strong as Superman. Now what happens in this like prison chapter is that while Batman's fighting Superman, like the Damian Wayne Robin, he goes in he goes and finds Victor Zsasz, who's locked up in one of the cells and everything like that. Now, for those of you who don't know who Victor Zsasz is, he's a serial killer in the DC universe, or like the DC multiverse, or whichever way they want to call it. And because there's many different universes, so we'll just say he's a serial killer in the DC multiverse. So while Batman and Superman are fighting, Damian has him like locked in his arms, and then he has like basically a blade to his throat, and then he says like tell Zsasz like how many people have you killed, and then Zsasz says like around like 120 women or something like that. Then after that, like Damian just freaking like guts him like a pig, like he just slits his throat like right then and there. He's like, yeah, look, he's killed 120 women, and now and now I killed him, so he's not gonna kill anyone again. So you tell me what justice is, Batman. Batman's just like like a little bitch, like stunned over there. He's like, no, 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 why did you do that? And then Damian Wayne goes with Superman, and he says that Superman's a much better mentor that I have than like the Batman, because Superman has what it takes to ensure that there's going to be like justice and order and stuff like that. Now, while I was playing this game, there were like a lot of like very very like excruciating moments and stuff like that, because I was playing it in the hard difficulty setting, and when you play the game like yourself, you're gonna see like just how hard it is. And there's a bunch of like comic relief moments and stuff like that, which are like really funny. They take jabs at like the whole like politically correct stuff. So when Ollie, like the Green Arrow, he's fighting Gorilla Grodd, he says, no, so you really do eat bananas, right? Or is that like or is that a stereotype? I was just trying to be politically correct. I laughed pretty hard at that, because like nowadays it's like that type of thing where, you know, like everything is taken offensively and stuff. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, then that chapter has you like basically using Black Canary and Green Arrow, and Black Canary was pretty good, even though like her moves are like not that good, and most of them are just like martial arts moves. They're not like really projectile moves. You can do the Canary Cry, but that's with the B button, and then it has to like recharge and all that. So yeah, so that's the first chapter. The second chapter was with Harley Quinn. I didn't really enjoy it that much because I'm not really that much of a Harley Quinn fan. And then the third chapter is with Black Canary and Green Arrow, and that was pretty fun. Now, this is sorry to go back, but like what happens in this game is that Superman's locked up, and then Bruce Wayne is giving a speech to everyone about like how he's made the world safe and everything like that. And he has this like central monitoring system. It's called Brother Eye, and it's used to basically keep surveillances on any alien threats and stuff like that. Because I mean, like his technology is like pretty advanced. Like in the first game, he invented like basically interdimensional travel, where he can bring like superheroes from like other universes and stuff like that. So needless to say, it's just this is like pretty good technology. And then like about like midway, like when you're fighting the Legion of Doom, or like the Secret Society as they call it, I usually call them the Legion of Doom because I'm a pretty old fan, and that's what they used to be called before. But now, and like on the later versions, they're called the Secret Society. It's revealed that like, you know, Brainiac has hired them, and like Brainiac's trying to create like disorder and stuff like that. So that's why he's hired them. He's hired Grodd and all these people, and they're trying to keep the Justice League busy while like Brainiac's plans come into like fruition. And he's here to like look for one of the few last Kryptonians. So he's looking for Superman and everything like that. And then what also happens is that Supergirl lands like on Earth during this time because her pod gets knocked off course. Like, you know, if you watch the TV show, then you know that's something that happens with Supergirl. Like her pod gets knocked off course, and then she's she's not able to make her journey, and like the as they thought she would make her journey. So it just gets knocked off course, and it takes like a really long route. And by then Superman has basically become a lot older, and he's a lot older, even though he was like a kid. And she was he wasn't a kid, he was like an infant when he left Krypton, and she was pretty old when she left Krypton. Like not pretty old, like I mean absolute wise, but she was older than him. Like she was a teen and he was an infant. So that's why like Kara is pretty young and like Superman's pretty old, and it's like that in like a lot of like storylines. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of people know this. But yeah, and then there's like some of the chapters in the middle that I didn't really like pay too much attention to, because I mean they're probably not that good. There's like one chapter in which you control Blue Beetle and Firestorm, and that's like right outside the red sun rays that they use to like nullify Superman's power. Is called the Red Sun Prison or something like that. I'm not too sure. So there's like this one scene which is like really funny with Blue Beetle and stuff like that, and the Damian Wayne Robin comes out. He's all like dressed like Nightwing because Kara busts him out of the prison cell and everything like that, and he's out to like fight for the for the regime's comeback. I was about to say insurgency, which is actually the regime, because he's on the regime side, and he's about to fight for the regime's comeback. So he goes and confronts like Blue Beetle and Firestorm, and then Blue Beetle's like pretty funny with like his accent and stuff like that, and like the Damian Wayne Robin says to them is like, yeah, my dad's weak because he didn't really have what it took to like ensure justice and everything. And then you have Blue Beetle over there and like his like thick accent and everything. So if your papa is weak, what does that make you? And then I was laughing pretty hard at that. So then Damien says, I take after my mother and stuff like that. And then you defeat Damien. And another like really cool thing about that chapter is like everyone busts in. That's when the regime tries to bust out Superman, and Batman's like basically controlling the insurgency and stuff, and so he's there to find out like what's going on and everything like that. And at that point, like when Brainiac has basically shut down all the surveillance that Batman has and like the defense grid that Batman has, that's when Batman comes in and says that like, you know, now we need Superman's help and we can't just like keep him locked up because we're not gonna win this fight without him. And he comes like just in the nick of time because Firestorm's about to create a nuclear explosion that would basically kill everyone who was in that room, even Superman, because he hasn't been fully energized by the yellow sun, like because he was under those red sun rays that nullify his powers and don't energize him too much, so it takes him like some time to energize and everything like that. And then that's when they go back to like the old Justice League headquarters, and there's like this table that says the Justice League, and Batman pulls out the cover and everything, and then it says Justice League on that. And everyone says that, yeah, we forgot these days, and these days were like so cool and everything like that. We hadn't turned on each other, we weren't fighting each other, we were fighting as a team, we were all like superheroes, we always won. And then Joker did that one horrifying thing, and that changed everything. And then in the middle of that, like Batman gets Firestorm across, and he tells him something which isn't like revealed to the audience at that time, but I'm gonna get to that later. So then after that, there's I think like this could be before, this could be after, I don't remember exactly, but that Flash chapter, oh my god damn, is that awesome. So you have like Flash going, and he's trying to like stop the Brainiac's invasion and everything like that, and trying to do whatever he can to thwart Brainiac. And then you have Deadshot take like fired at his leg, and that incapacitates him for a little bit. And then Captain Cold comes out to fight him, and like when I was playing that, I was like, damn, yeah, this is what we wanted. Flash versus Captain Cold, like that's how it's supposed to be. And then after you beat Captain Cold, you fight Reverse Flash, and that cutscene is just like friggin' amazing. Like Flash and Reverse Flash running outside the city, and each other, and they're beating each other up and everything like that. And then you defeat Reverse Flash. Then Green Lantern comes in, and Green Lantern says that, you know, I failed to be a superhero and stuff because I joined the regime and stuff, but now I want to make amends for that. And then since Flash defected in the last game, he says, no, like, I mean, he can't be trusted and everything like that. And then those two fight, and so Green Lantern actually wins that, and he says that, you know, like, don't worry, and actually I'm like, for legit, I'm a superhero now, and I've had time to like think about like what I did was wrong and all that stuff. So then they make amends, and then the next chapter takes place in Atlantis, and you fight like a couple of like lackeys with Green Lantern and stuff. You fight Cheetah and all that, and then finally you get to fight Atrocitus, and he comes out with like his vengeance and all that, and he says like everyone wants vengeance over here because of like everything they've lost. Metropolis got destroyed, and then after that Superman basically ruined with an iron fist, so that's like fueling his hatred and everything like that. And then he basically spits out a whole bunch of like freaking like goo and shit like that at Green Lantern, or like hatred and everything, which is supposed to be like blood or something, and that's supposed to make Green Lantern more furious and like make him like a Red Lantern. But then you hear that infamous like Green Lantern battle cry, in brightest day, in brightest night, no evil shall escape my sight. For those who escape evil's might, beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Yeah, something like that. I don't have it down word for word. And then he breaks down that all that like hatred that Atrocitus has spewed on him. And then after that, like Green Lantern and Atrocitus fight, and then Green Lantern beats him, and Atrocitus goes back, and he says that wherever there's vengeance, there's going to be Atrocitus. And yeah, then that's basically the end of the Green Lantern chapter, and that's when you fight. That's when you, I think after that you use Wonder Woman and stuff, and you fight Cheetah, and you have like all that insurgency versus a little bit of that insurgency versus regime stuff going on and everything like that, and then they all get together and they try to fight Brainiac and stuff like that, and then a whole bunch of like people get captured. Like Batman gets captured by Brainiac, and like Brainiac uses like all the his like tentacles and stuff like that to incapacitate Batman and everything. And then in the meanwhile, when they're trying to like board Brainiac's ship and everything like that, then Brainiac fires like his entire like Brainstar's cannon. Like that's Brainiac's spaceship. It's called at Superman, and incapacitates Superman and everything like that. And at that point, it's not really known to the audience whether Superman dies because of like that huge ass energy blast that he's hit by, because before, like, you know, his powers are still energizing and all that, and no one knows. And so basically what happens after that is that Black Adam is on the regime side, and he said, and him and like Aquaman think that there might be like a way to board Brainiac's ship, because they can hit him with like this thing with the conduct magic and stuff like that. And basically, like, you know, people say that, you know, magic's like ridiculous and stuff like that and all that stuff. That's all well and good, but in this context, basically magic is X elements. Now how Brainiac works is that he goes to a bunch of like different worlds and stuff like that, and he absorbs all their knowledge. So by absorbing like all their knowledge, he's draining into the archives and like studying about a world's environment, like all the elements and stuff like that, and all the energies in that world's environment. And then he can, using that knowledge, he can manipulate those energy and those energies and those elements to like his favor. But since Brainiac hasn't come to Earth yet, like this is his first visit on Earth, those are like the X elements and like the X energy that can potentially be used to stop him. So they go to like this whole like old conduct tomb, which is basically mystic ancient Egypt like stuff, and then they open up this tomb and they release like this huge ass discharge of energy, which is like referred to as magic, because really all magic is, it's an X energy or like an X element, and they fire it at the Brainstar. So that's how they get to board the Brainstar, which is Brainiac's ship. And then once they board the ship, like Brainiac's like super powerful and he incapacitates like everyone and everything, that whoever comes to fight him and everything like that. But then he has like Batman by the tentacles and everything like that. He's about to kill Batman, and at that very second, like Superman comes flying in and he like smashes all the tentacles that are like grabbing Batman. He's like, there's like good times and everything like that. And then that Brainiac boss fight, oh my god, is it freaking frustratingly hard. Like, holy shit. Trust me, like, if you play this game, that boss fight is going to make you sweat, especially if you're playing on hard or hardest. Now, I really cannot imagine if, like, how people play this game on, like, very hard, because I wouldn't be able to last, like, maybe, like, more than 10 seconds. I've tried to play Injustice 1 on very hard, and I haven't lasted, like, more than, like, maybe 15-20 seconds, because the AI just counters everything you do, and like within like a second it does like a move or like a counter move, and literally like you can just get like 5 or 6 hits at the AI. So that's really like very hard, is probably for like guys who are like MLG level, like Major League Gaming and stuff like that, or just a little underneath that. But I mean, I can't play on very hard or like hardest, whatever like the hardest difficulty, maximum difficulty setting is. I beat the game on hard, but damn was it hard. Like, I mean, every time you hit Brainiac, every time you do any damage, like first of all, any damage you do to him is like very, very, very light. It takes away like a very small portion of his life bar. And so you basically have to hit him a lot and not get hit, which is like really hard, because there's moves that he has, like when he uses his tentacles and stuff, which are part of the ship. Like if he uses his tentacles and hits you like 3 times, that's like your entire life bar is gone, and you have 2 life bars. So like literally, if he does those moves like 6 times, you're dead, and he keeps doing that again and again and again. So yeah, needless to say, it might have taken me like maybe like 8 or 9 hours just to beat like Brainiac. And what makes it worse, like you have to fight him first with Superman. When you beat him with Superman, you gotta fight him with Batman, beat him with Batman. So, you know, you're fighting him 2 times. And God, was that like frustrating. It was frustrating, but it was like very challenging and very fun. It's like, I mean, actually, like, you know, in the comic universe or in that multiverse, like if you're fighting Brainiac, that's how hard it would be to fight Brainiac, and I loved it. I loved like that entire boss fight. And then when you beat Brainiac, then that's when I thought that, you know, the entire saga was going to come to an end. Everyone was going to shake hands and, like, you know, compromise. Like Superman would probably compromise and say like, yeah, I lost my way and stuff, and now, you know, we should all be friends again and stuff like that. But no, like, there's more. That's what's like really good about this game. It's just when you think it's over, there's like actually more. That's at that point, like, you know, when Brainiac's defeated, then Superman goes up to him and he says like, you know, how many like billions of worlds has he, millions or like billions or so many, like, even if you don't want to put a number on it, has he destroyed? Now it's time to kill him so that he can destroy any other world again. Then Batman says no. Like, even if I thought that, you know, that was a good idea to kill him, we still need him to like get back the cities and everything and everything like that. Then Superman says no, we can do it on our own. Like, you know, we have Cyborg, we have like all this tech and everything like that, so we can eventually do it on our own. And then that's when basically the climax happens. Now, in the last chapter, you get to choose whether you want to play as Superman or you want to play as Batman. Like, everyone knows who I chose. I chose Superman. So when you're playing as Superman, you gotta like defeat like the big guys of the Insurgency, which are Green Lantern, Flash, Supergirl, and Batman. Now, the other thing about this game is that Supergirl is, I don't know, like, I really didn't enjoy like her role in this, because like I think they've taken that from the TV show where like it's literally like half the time she's just complaining. She's complaining and crying about like how hard everything is for her, and like, you know, how traumatized she is and stuff like that. Like, she doesn't really show resilience to like fight, and she's always like trying to like, you know, reform Superman and all that stuff. So I didn't really like her appearance too much like in this game as far as like the story goes, but the character, like, she's pretty fun to use because there's a chapter where you just use her. So yeah, she packs like quite a punch. Like, her powers and stuff are pretty good, and like using her is like a lot of fun. But as far as like the plot goes, like, I just thought like she cried like way too much, played the victim, and always complained and stuff like that, which is really like, you know, someone who's super shouldn't be doing that. But that's just my opinion, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, but that's my opinion. And then yeah, so like I was saying before, like I chose Superman in the final chapter because I'm a Superman fan, and honestly, like, independent of that, I'm on the regime side because like, just to go away from like this discussion of like injustice and stuff like that, I thought that, you know, this makes like a really good parallel to like real life, because it kind of like questions the legal system and everything like that. And one problem I really had with the legal system is that it's too lenient on criminals and everything like that. And basically, like, what I feel is that if like someone commits like a murder or something like that, or there's like serial killers and stuff, then there should be life in prison with no parole. But that's not really what happens. Like, I mean, they're given like a lot of like privileges and stuff like that. Like, they're given like game consoles, they're given like movies, they're given like rec times and everything like that, because the emphasis is to like reform them and everything like that. But really what it should be is like life in prison, no parole, and like the cases should be like examined every now and then if like some new like forensic evidence pops up and stuff like that. At least like that's my opinion on it. So sorry to like go away from like a discussion of injustice and like bring like real life like murder trials and like stuff into this, but that's what I thought was like really neat about this game, is that it had like this real life component to it. So as far as like all that's concerned, like, you can say that like I'm more inclined towards the regime. Like, I agree with their ways more than like the Insurgency, which is like basically focuses on reforming criminals rather than punishing them. And I personally, like, I believe in punishment over like reforming like any day. So yeah, so like I basically used Superman in the last chapter, and it's pretty fun to like beat the living shit out of like the insurgency and stuff like that. Especially Supergirl, because she's crying like half the time. It's like, oh no, 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 this is supposed to be a symbol for hope and all that, and you're like destroying the family's name and everything like that. And I just like beat the living shit out of her. And it was like pretty fun. It's like boom, 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 smack, get out of here. And then like Batman puts on like this like kryptonite suit and everything like that, and he comes to fight us, and he's like, yeah, you remember the day you told me that like Lois was pregnant and stuff, and those were like such good times and everything like that. And then both like Superman, Batman say that like, damn, yeah, and it's pretty bad that we have to do this now, but like, you know, we both knew that was gonna come down to this and everything. And then those two fight, and that was like pretty easy. Like I smashed like Batman all over the face and like beat him up pretty hard. And then before that, I beat up Green Lantern and Flash pretty hard, pretty easily. Because once you've like beaten that Brainiac boss fight, everything's like a cakewalk after that. So basically, as far as like that goes, when after you beat Batman, then that's like basically like the villain ending. That's a bad ending, because like basically the regime and Brainiac are the antagonists in this game. That's how like they've made it, and that's how they stated and everything like that, and that's how it's portrayed. So when you beat the game with Superman, you have him like basically lock up Kara in like this prison and everything like that, and he says that, yeah, and I've downloaded like all this like stuff from Brainiac's ships and everything like that, and he has access to like he has access to like all these like warriors and like in the miniaturized cities that he's captured and stuff like that. Now again, to go on like a small tangent, a lot of people don't know the story about like Brainiac and like Kandor and everything like that. But what Brainiac basically does is that he's a conqueror and like a collector of the universe. So basically what he does is he goes from like planet to planet to collect knowledge, and that's what he values. And then he destroys these planets so that knowledge becomes more and more valuable. He takes like one city or like a few land masses from like the planet or the civilization, and then he destroys the entire planet. And that's how he like keeps gathering knowledge and stuff like that. And that's why he's so hard to beat, because basically he's a collective of like a lot of worlds, and he's like adapted the best of their technologies to like fight everyone and everything like that. So that's that's how Brainiac works. And then when you have in the end, when you have like Superman telling Supergirl like his plans and everything like that, so he's like, yeah, now I have access to like Brainiac's ship. I have access to like all the warriors that were living in those like small cities that he's miniaturized and like put him in his ship. And then now I've made those cities like big again. I have access to like all those warriors. I have access to like all his tech again. And I'm gonna have like an army that's basically gonna be the size of the Lantern Corps. And it's gonna be as strong as the Lantern Corps to like basically ensure peace and stability by reigning with an iron fist throughout the galaxy and stuff like that. And then you see that like, you know, Superman has made Batman his bitch, because like Batman has that, you know, that mind control technology that Grodd was using, and that Brainiac took off Grodd. And like Batman is basically under Superman's spell, and you see him like making like this like drone face and everything like that, and it's like he's like brain dead, and like whatever Superman does is basically goes. And then they show Supergirl, and she's like terrified and everything and that's when the game ends. Now that's the Injustice 2 ending for me as far as I'm concerned. Now I know that like this is not the canon ending. The canon ending is the good ending when you beat it with Batman and stuff, and I'm going to get to that in the middle. But for me, this is how Injustice 2 ended. Because this is like really how like freaking badass the regime is, and like how like dedicated to like law and order they are, and that's exactly the way I want it. So I really love this. And now you know why I like this game so much, because like, you know, it's so good. It's like this whole like ethics debate of like whether, you know, there should be whether people should be reformed or they should be punished. Like not people, criminals should be reformed or criminals should be punished, which is something that's always intrigued me. That has an element to this. And then you have Batman and Superman going at each other, and then if Superman wins in the end, then, you know, Batman's basically his bitch and stuff. So I really like that, and that's why like this game is basically a 9 out of 10 for me, just based on the story mode. Now, moving on to with the ending, which is probably canon, is the one in which Batman wins in the end when he puts on like his kryptonite suit and they all start fighting and everything like that, and then Batman like downs like drops all all the big people of the regime and everything like that, and then he finally defeats Superman in the end, and then you see him when Superman's defeated. He puts him on like kryptonite handcuffs and stuff, and he sends him to the Phantom Zone. And then Superman says, "Even without my powers, the Phantom Zone won't be able to hold me, and I'll come back." So then Batman says, "We'll be ready for you." And if there's going to be an Injustice 3, like this is probably the canon ending, which they're going to pick up on the third game. That's that's pretty obvious, like everyone and all the fans. So yeah, I mean those are like my thoughts on Injustice 2. I thoroughly enjoyed the game, and I'm glad that NetherRealm Studios did a really good job. And yeah, and so let me hear like your views on this game, and you can post them in the comment section. Again, if you want to get a hold of me, like through my YouTube or my DC Facebook fandom website, just let me know. I'll send you the link. And yeah, and that's about it. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, and DC for life. Thanks.